The 5 a.m. secret that changed my life forever. For years, everyone thought I was wasting my time. My family laughed when they saw me waking up at 5 a.m. every morning. They said it wouldn't change anything. But 5 years later, the same people who mocked me were asking how I became successful. My name is Ethan, and I'm 23 years old. Growing up, I was never the smartest kid. I wasn't the most talented. I wasn't the most popular. In my family, my older brother was the star. He got better grades. He had more friends. He seemed successful at everything. Whenever relatives visited, they talked about him. Nobody talked about me. By the time I turned 23, I felt stuck. I was working a low-paying job. I had no confidence, no clear future. And honestly, I was tired of feeling like a disappointment. One night, I couldn't sleep. I sat in my room scrolling through videos. That's when I heard something that would change my life forever. A successful businessman said, "Your future is built before most people even wake up." Then he talked about the power of waking up at 5 a.m. At first, I laughed. It sounded too simple, too easy. How could waking up early possibly change someone's life? But something about those words stayed in my mind. The next morning, I set my alarm for 5 a.m. I had no idea that decision was about to change everything. The first morning was a disaster. My alarm rang at 5 a.m. I wanted to turn it off and go back to sleep. My bed felt comfortable. The room was quiet, and every part of me wanted to quit. But somehow, I got up. I walked to the kitchen and made a cup of coffee. For the first time in years, I watched the sunrise. The world felt different, peaceful, quiet, full of possibilities. For the next few days, I continued waking up at 5 a.m. It wasn't easy. In fact, it was one of the hardest things I had ever done. Soon, my family noticed. One morning, my brother laughed and asked, "Why are you waking up so early?" When I explained my new routine, he smiled. "You really think that's going to make you successful?" My parents weren't much different. They thought it was just another phase, something I would quit after a few weeks. Honestly, I couldn't blame them. I had started many things before and never finished them, but this time felt different. Every morning, while everyone else was sleeping, I spent time learning. I read books. I listened to successful people. I planned my goals. I worked on improving myself. The results weren't immediate. Days passed, then weeks. Nothing seemed to change. And slowly, doubt started creeping into my mind. Maybe my family was right. Maybe waking up at 5 a.m. was pointless. Maybe I was wasting my time. But deep inside, something told me to keep going. I didn't know it yet. But the biggest opportunity of my life was getting closer every single day. A few months passed. At first, nothing seemed different. But slowly, I noticed changes. I had more energy, more confidence, and more discipline. For the first time in years, I felt like I was moving forward instead of standing still. That's when I realized the 5 a.m. habit wasn't changing my mornings. It was changing me. One day, I saw an opportunity online. Normally, I would have ignored it. But because of my new mindset, I decided to take a chance. I applied immediately. Days later, I received a response. It wasn't a huge opportunity, but it was my first real step forward. And it gave me hope. Months turned into a year. I kept waking up at 5 a.m. I kept learning. I kept improving. Then something amazing happened. My income started growing. People began noticing my progress. The same family members who laughed at my routine started asking questions. For the first time, they could see the results. 2 years after starting my 5 a.m. routine, my life looked completely different. I had a better career, more confidence, and bigger opportunities than I ever imagined. One morning, my father looked at me and said, "I'm proud of you." Those words meant more than any amount of money. Because after years of doubt, I had finally proved that small habits can create big success. As my life improved, my family started noticing. The same people who once laughed at my routine were now asking questions. My brother wanted advice. My parents wanted to know what had changed. The answer was simple. I had changed. Small daily habits had completely transformed my future. For the first time, people believed in me. But the biggest lesson was still ahead. People often ask me what the secret was. Was it luck? Was it talent? Was it money? No. The real secret was consistency. Waking up at 5 a.m. didn't magically make me successful. It gave me extra time to improve myself every single day. Those small improvements became big results. Today, my life is completely different from the life I once lived. And whenever someone asks how it happened, I tell them the truth. Success didn't start when I achieved my goal. Success started the morning I decided to get out of bed at 5 a.m. and refuse to quit. My name is Ethan, and that decision changed my life forever.